What's going on, everybody? Narcolepsy Boy 94 here, back again here with another podcast of the New Year streaming. Special little collab for you guys, put together kind of about this week or something like that. Put together like around this week. I think we talked for a while about doing something sometime last year, but scheduling was so busy for everybody, So next time we'll have to get you in, and we'll have to get the whole straight shoot on here, so you guys can do one of the Jeopardies. That's what I wanted to do. I remember now. I think you guys play one of the Jeopardies that I used to do on my show. We'll have to make that happen eventually. But as always, I let my guests introduce themselves. What was that? That was weird. I don't know if you saw that or not. It was like your screen like glitched in and out. That was weird. Like a coloring glitch. I don't know what that was. It was like it came in and out. But I let my guests introduce themselves. Yeah, you're good. I'll let you introduce yourself. You can play your socials, podcasts, whatever you got going on right now. They want people to check out and follow.
Hey everybody, my name is Santiago, Mr. Santi Zap, all those monikers. You can find me over on TikTok, either on the Straight Shoot Wrestling podcast page or on my personal page, Mr. Santi Zap, and Twitch, YouTube, all those places you can find me as well. I'm excited to be here though.
But how did you guys start the Straight Shoot podcast? You guys, I'm assuming you guys already knew each other before you guys started the podcast.
Yeah, we already knew each other. Steve and I worked together for a while from 2018 to 2019, or like right before the pandemic or something like that. I couldn't quite remember. Regardless, like we knew we were both wrestling fans, and him and I, we had offices across from one another, and we would literally have wrestling discussions, debates, arguing about whether Stone Cold or John Cena is the greatest of all time, just literally across from each other. And it was a podcast essentially that wasn't being recorded. Now, fast forward to 2021, I had scheduled a Twitch subathon, which is basically like a 24-hour stream that keeps going until as long as people subscribe to the channel. And one of the rewards that I put in for X amount of subs was that I would do a professional wrestling podcast pilot of 5 episodes if we reach 50 subscribers on Twitch or something along the lines of that. Once we reached it, I reached out to Steve like, hey, we should give this a shot. And yeah, he was all on board. We did the 5-episode pilot. We decided to keep going. For the first like 4 months, we would only get maybe 20 listens across everything every time we would upload a new episode. But then Steve had the idea to maybe we should post clips or do stuff on TikTok, and really that's what helped the overall podcast and the brand explode really over the last 12 months, because we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of being on TikTok actually.
Yeah, TikTok, like so we talked about it off the air. TikTok's like a crazy way to grow, you know what I mean? It takes like this one video for your stuff to even get out there, and it's just there. That's how mine started, like 2020 pandemic, just posting random stuff. And then like my original content wasn't even wrestling content. I was just posting clips, like I was trying to be like a funny creator, comedian type stuff. I posted a wrestling video, and it got like 9 million views. Like it blew up, and then people just, I started because I'm a big wrestling fan, so I started like posting like old wrestling clips that I grew up on, like Ruthless Aggression era type stuff. And then it just started like the views and stuff started going crazy, and then I stuck with it. It's like, I guess I'm just gonna stick with it, you know what I mean? So now it's become like an addicting thing, like a wrestling content. But I started like to see how much growth the content has gotten in the wrestling community on TikTok. It's crazy, because I started in 2020 and it was like very little. It's like there were a couple people that I noticed and saw, but not like now. Like it's so many people now. It's great. It's like it's so cool to see, because like I went to WrestleMania this year, and I met so many people who were like so many creators out there, man. It's so cool to see.
Yeah. TikTok has definitely lowered the barrier of entry to be able to create content on anything really that you're interested or passionate about. It is interesting though, because I think there's a big differentiator into the types of content creators that are available on TikTok when it comes to wrestling, because there are those that are there to create content, and then there are those that are there to create social media posts about wrestling, whether it's replying to other people, engaging with comments, and that's very unique to TikTok. And like I said, just it's all your phone, right? So the barrier of entry is non-existent anymore. You don't need a fancy camera, a fancy microphone. You don't need experience with video editing. It's just you turn on your phone and that's it.
So I gotta ask, because you and I we're big Cena fans. You know, we're on this, we're on Team Cena. You know what I mean? Growing up, you know, we're kind of on the same age. It was like, you know, either you're really Team Cena or you're not Team Cena. Now it's like, you know, it's so like, I was talking to somebody the other day. You know what I mean? It's so like, it's cool to see, but it's just so like, I was always one of those people. I don't know if you ever thought about this. I was like, you know what? I promise you, when he's not around anymore, now everybody's gonna start liking him now. Like when he's gone,
dude, 100%.
He's not there anymore. I was like, he's gonna get so much respect, and people are gonna realize how great he truly was for the business. People now everybody loves John Cena now. Now everybody's like, oh man, I miss John Cena, but it wasn't like that 10 years ago though, you know. So I gotta ask, when did you start becoming a Cena fan? And I'll start with mine after yours. I want to hear your Cena fan story.
Okay, so as the Cena fandom came out of more so a despise of JBL, more so than a love for Cena. I despise JBL. Yeah. I think he was like the most phenomenal heel of all time, but also as a Latino, his just despicable treatment of the likes of Eddie Guerrero, his vignettes of kicking Mexican immigrants from crossing the border, like brilliant, just awful heel work. So like for me, it was more so a de facto hate of JBL rather than an initial love of John Cena. I was initially really skeptical about John Cena being the guy that I wanted to root for, but I really just wanted to see the end of JBL. So I was not the Cena fan during his mid-card run. I wasn't particularly a huge fan of him during his United States run or his initial, you know, Doctor of Thugonomics heel run. It all came as a... I just hate JBL. And then from there, I just kind of fell in love with Cena. There's really only been two feuds that I didn't root for Cena. The CM Punk one in 2011. I think it was hard to root for Cena. And two, if you remember the Triple H heel run that led into their WrestleMania 22 match where Triple H had those like long handlebar mustaches. Triple H was just too cool to root against. It was just really those two feuds that I haven't rooted for Cena.
All right, so you know what's crazy? I was a big Cena fan in 2004. I started watching in 2004. He wasn't my first favorite wrestler. When I first started watching, my first favorite wrestler was Eddie Guerrero. He was my first favorite, like when I really started getting into it. But the feud when Cena became my favorite was the one against JBL. Like the I Quit match against JBL was like when John Cena
Judgment Day was
like solidified. When like after that I Quit match, he's the blood all over his face and he's holding up both the titles. I'm like, oh no, this guy's like this guy's like my all-time favorite now. Like ever since then, it was just Cena was always number one for me. I can't even explain it. It was just like something changed. That match, something's changed for me. Like the way that match went and everything. You know, this is back in the Ruthless Aggression era when like, you know, blood was like an extreme thing and everything was so different then. So it's like ever since that day, it was just Cena was always my favorite. And the crazy thing is too, like I rarely rooted against Cena. As I got older and I started to understand wrestling a little bit more, and now I'm not as biased anymore. And I'm like, okay, you know, certain people should win certain matches for certain things. But the very first superstar to make me root against John Cena was CM Punk in 2011. Again, when he won that title for the Money in the Bank and everything. It's the first time I ever wanted John Cena to lose in my whole life. I was like, I want CM Punk to win this match. Like that's how popular he was around that time frame.
Understandable.
So that's why CM Punk's one of them.
Yeah, what I will say, and I want to clarify, is that as much as I love John Cena, I think John Cena is the greatest of all time. Like, I think it's hard to argue that he's not. I'm willing to listen to the arguments of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, but I can shoot all of those down and I will win an argument when it comes to solidifying John Cena as the greatest of all time. He's not my favorite WWE superstar of all time. My favorite WWE superstar of all time is The Rock. The Rock is the one that got me into wrestling. He is the one that made me fall in love with the product, so much so that my dog is named Dwayne the Dog Johnson. He's a tiny little miniature wiener dog, but The Rock really genuinely changed my course of hobbies and interests as early back as 2001 and 2002. But John Cena is the greatest of all time, and he's like my number two in terms of overall favorite wrestlers.
Nice. Cena's my favorite of all time. The Rock is my favorite from the Attitude Era. I was always more of a Rock than Austin guy. Like Austin was great, but I don't know, The Rock. I always prefer The Rock. The Rock is always my favorite over Austin.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I never got to experience Austin. Like I've watched all of the Attitude Era, but like after the fact, because I started watching wrestling in late 2001, so I missed the entirety of the Attitude Era. But I've gone back and watched it, and I'm with you. Like going back and seeing those matches between them at WrestleMania 17 and 15, and of course 19, which was more Ruthless Aggression era. I always rooted for The Rock. It was just so hard to not root for The Rock. Like the man is just such a charismatic guy, even when he's a heel. Yeah, he's a bully, even when he's a face. Like The Rock is a bully, but he's just so charismatic and likable.
It's The Rock.
Yeah,
it's The Rock. It's The Rock. It's like I like though, you know, I do like that Cena is starting to get more respect now that he's not there, because when he was there, and I mean, obviously not everybody's gonna like every wrestler, but I like that now people can separate their personal feelings, how they feel against Cena towards realism, because some people still can't separate the two. Like some people still try to convince me. I never understood this whole logic either, is that people try to tell me they hated Cena because he was a bad wrestler, but he's had countless of great matches in WWE. So I'm like, if he's that bad of a wrestler, how does he have that many great? It takes two people to go in the ring and have a great match. The one now, Cena may not be better than, you know, Shawn Michaels or some of these other people that he's wrestling, but it takes two people to put on a good match. So if he was never a good wrestler, he would never have that many great matches with a consistent amount of superstars with different styles. That's what I never understood. I never understood that logic.
I'm with you. I never understood that logic either. I mean, up until NXT became a thing, John Cena was one of the only few people that held a 5-star match in the entire history of the business, his match with CM Punk. But you're right. It absolutely takes two to tango. But we also need to acknowledge that like WWE isn't your traditional independent wrestling where the work itself carries the match and the story. WWE is the showmanship, the promos, the getting a reaction out of the crowd. And yeah, okay, maybe John Cena wasn't the greatest in-ring performer, but he was the greatest at getting a reaction out of a crowd. He was the greatest at making their opponent seem bigger and larger than life. Do you think the Daniel Bryan getting over would have worked had it not been Cena? If it was somebody else that picked Daniel Bryan, it wouldn't have worked. John Cena is so phenomenal at making his opponents feel bigger, larger, and dangerous, right? And that's part of the art of professional wrestling. Again, yeah, he's probably not a top 20 in-ring performer of all time, but he's the best at everything else. And all of that other stuff that Cena is so good at, it masks maybe some of his weaknesses in the ring. Like, yeah, okay, think about like those insane crowd reactions that he was getting at places like ECW, right? Who gets that reaction, man? Nobody can get that reaction. If that crowd is quiet,
that was insane.
Yeah, if that crowd is quiet, if that crowd was more anti-Cena than they were pro-RVD. That's saying something in terms of somebody who is just able to get a reaction out of everybody, regardless of whether he's in hostile territory, whether he's in his hometown of West Newbury, Massachusetts. It doesn't matter. The crowd is going to react, and the person opposite Cena is going to benefit from it, and it's going to make for a better show and a better match.
You know what's crazy? I heard an interview of a wrestler. I can't remember who it is on top of my head now, but this person was working with Cena. You know, the typical "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants and everything. And he went to Cena and asked him, like, "Man, doesn't that like bother you that people are like doing that?" And he was like, "You know what's crazy? Like when we were out in the ring, I don't remember them chanting your name once at all. Like the whole time they were chanting, 'Let's go Cena, Cena sucks.'" And he never thought about it like that, but the rest was like, "Oh shit! Like I never even thought about it like that. Like, that's crazy. Like." They weren't saying anything about me. They were all focused on Cena. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like, you know, the way I feel about Cena, honestly, with his reactions, I honestly feel the same way about Roman Reigns right now. Like, I feel like when Roman is gone, that's when people are going to really appreciate him. Like, oh, like, I like Roman Reigns now. Like, he's going to be one of those people. People hate him so much right now because of the push that he's getting or the run that he's having as champion and everything. When he's finally gone, I think people will look at like, oh man. And like if he's one of those people that leaves and then comes back, everybody's gonna respect him now. Everybody's gonna love him. He's gonna be one of those people that fall into that category, I feel like.
Yeah, man. I think there's a quote that really resonates with me when it comes to thinking back of the good old days of professional wrestling. I wish you could know that you were in the good old days during the good old days, because you always know that you're in the good old days after they've passed, right? I think there's a lot of people that don't realize right now what they're witnessing is special, right? You're going to see 5 years from now, you're going to look back on this and say that was the good old days. But no one's not that no one is, but a lot of people aren't seeing that at the moment. They're just seeing this champion. They feel like he's holding the titles hostage, holding people down, like the same way that Cena was seen, the same way that always like the top superstar is seen that way. And it always takes a few years after the fact for everybody to look back at those times and say, those were the good old days of the WWE.
It's gonna be one of those situations, man. It's that's why I laugh now, because you know I already could feel like, looking back, 10 years ago, you know what I mean, when Cena was at the top, I just remember the consistent, the heat between the two, you know what I mean, like the connections between the and I understood why some people didn't like Cena, because he did win a lot, and there were some times when he won when he probably shouldn't have won. So I understood. I was like, oh, I get it, you know what I mean, but like, there's a difference between from being like labeled as the guy and then just being a WWE superstar. Like, how many people in the history of WWE have really been the face of the company? Hulk Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena, Roman. That's like 5 people.
That's it. Right there, that's it right there. That's it.
Yeah, in a span of decades.
Yeah, dude, it's a rare thing to be able to easily transition from one face of the company to the other, right? Like it's not like we know right now who the next face of the company is going to be after Roman, right? Like it just happens organically, or sometimes not organically. Maybe the WWE pushes it in one particular direction. But it's not a common thing. Like you said, I think a lot of people in their heads have, well, what about The Undertaker? What about Shawn Michaels? What about Triple H? No one is diminishing the accolades and the impact of any of those guys, but those guys weren't the face.
Yeah, they were never the face of the company. The face of the company is a completely different aspect. It's like the company labels you as the guy, and they're going to push you as the guy because they feel like they can make a lot of money from you, and you could benefit. And like anybody that Vince has really chosen to be the guy are not bad choices. Hulk Hogan was the first one. He transcended and helped WWE become a global phenomenon. Then you had Austin and Rock in the same era, two megastars in the same era who literally could go neck and neck for the top spot. Then a lot of people, I think also remiss this. John Cena was next, but John Cena wasn't the first choice. Like he wasn't the first option. If you go back and look at the OVW class, Brock, Randy, Batista, and Cena was last on the list. Realistically, if Brock had never left, they probably would have went with Brock as the guy. Because
I agreed.
Push from the moon when he first got to the main roster.
I don't think people fully appreciate the craziness that was Brock Lesnar's first 2 years in the WWE. That'll never happen again. That will never happen again.
It felt, what's crazy too? Like it just felt the way they were pushing him in the beginning. It just felt right because he just looked the part. Like you look at this guy, dude. He can wrestle. He's athletic. He has the size, the strength, intensity. You're like, this guy is an absolute monster. Like he had the part, and then he had Heyman with him cutting the promos. And then you look at Batista and Randy; they were put into Evolution with Triple H and Ric Flair. So it's like they were groomed from two of the greatest ever. John Cena was the last one on the list. So for him to become the guy, and that he became. Nobody knew that at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you look back, I don't know how you felt, but when Brock left, they tried with Randy Orton when he won the world title. That didn't.
Yep.
Even when Cena became WWE champion, I still kind of felt like Batista was going to be the guy at that time over Cena. Like when they both won the world titles at WrestleMania, I was like, it's going to be Batista. Like Batista's next. Like I thought that was going to be his spot, and it turned out to be Cena. So he was last on the list, and he just had one of to me, the greatest run on top of any superstar in history. I mean, 10 years on top consistently without changing his gimmick once, even when people despised him and begged him for some type of change. Never changed his gimmick, but always remained to stay relevant and the most important superstar in the company. So I think that says a lot for his critique. Roman Reigns was next, and you probably could say Roman Reigns, looking at it, may have been the real first chosen one, because when the Shield was put together, you heard the stories like, You know, it was Moxley and Rollins, and then they want to cash his Ono, but Roman said you got to put Vince said you got to put Roman in there because he liked Roman. And then you kind of saw like when the Shield before they split up, they were kind of planting little seeds for Roman to look strong. Like remember that Royal Rumble when he threw out like 12 people in the Rumble? Like they were kind of planting little seeds to make him look like the next guy. So he's really never been in a bad spot. I mean, he was in the Shield after the Shield, his first WrestleMania as a singles competitor. He's in the main event. You know what I mean? So he was always groomed to be the guy. So I can understand if people look at him as like the first true chosen one because he was like single-handedly like I'm sure Vince looked at him and said, when Cena's gone, Roman is next.
I think one of the problems with their initial attempt at Roman Reigns, the face Roman Reigns, was that they tried to do Super Cena without building us up to that. Like Super Cena wasn't a thing instantly, right? Like Cena was Super Cena wasn't a thing until like 2007. First of all, like let's put that out there. Like Cena routinely lost matches. He had to go from the undercard matches on Velocity all the way through bottom mid card to finally gaining some traction with the mid card and winning the US title. Like Cena went through the traditional trajectory that a WWE superstar is supposed to go through, right? Like from beginnings all the way to the very top. I think that was part of the reason that a lot of fans turned on Roman Reigns because they felt like he never actually had to go through that journey or that trajectory because right off the bat, he was in a main event spot. Like, I mean, his debut was a main event of one of the big 4 pay-per-views on Survivor Series, right? And the second his singles run began, it was he's going to eliminate 11 people out of the Royal Rumble. He's going to be the guy. Like they never made us work at the idea of getting behind Roman Reigns. They just expected that we would get behind Roman Reigns. And I think that's what led to that initial run being initially rejected by a huge portion of the fans.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like another thing that hurt it too for me was that Royal Rumble that he won. Like the way they built that Rumble up was so bad for Roman Reigns. I mean, it was so bad. I don't understand. It's like they really set Roman up for the ultimate figure. It was so bad that they had to like make Roman fight Daniel Bryan in another stipulation where like if he beats Daniel Bryan, then he goes to WrestleMania. Like it turned out so bad. And it was just like, man, like it turned out so bad that they didn't even want to pull the trigger on putting the title on Roman at WrestleMania. You know, like we don't even know we don't know when the Money in the Bank cash-in was planned, but like that couldn't have even been the original plan. Like saying like they probably wouldn't have wanted Roman to win, but because of the reactions that he was getting, they're probably like, oh, maybe it's not the right time, you know, to put the title on Roman. So we'll go with Seth. Because even I don't know if you heard the interview with Seth that he did with Ariel Helwani, but he said that he never even felt like the champion at the time. Like he's felt like the placement holder for like, okay, we're gonna put the title on you until we're ready to put the title on Roman type thing. You know what I mean? So I always felt that some of the reasons that people had issues with Roman being the guy is because people felt like Rollins or Moxley were better. And they felt like those two people should be in that spot above Roman. But like I said, the top spot isn't meant for everybody to be in. Like, if you look at all the top guys in a certain aspect, those people never really had to be the best at certain things. Like, Hulk Hogan wasn't a phenomenal wrestler. You could probably say the Macho Man was better than Hulk Hogan at a lot of things.
100%. 100%.
Promo ability, but Macho Man wasn't Hulk Hogan. Like, he's not. Hulk Hogan just has a different aspect of a different importance that Macho Man just didn't have. You know what I mean? Like there's different things to separate. Like Austin, Rock weren't the greatest, you know, in ring styles. They're probably people who were better at that time, but who's going to be able to match Rock and Austin? You know what I mean? As far as superstar power and draw level and everything else, nobody's going to do it. So Cena, same way. Roman's there now. I feel like, you know, the way Roman is now, they could have had this, you know, a couple years ago if they kind of let Roman just kind of do his own thing, you know, from like when he beat Undertaker at WrestleMania and he cut that promo on Raw, you know what I'm saying? That was perfect time right there. Could have turned him heel, whatever, could have kind of just pushed him, but I just feel like now he's making up. He's making up for all the missed times that he could have had years and years ago. So there's always different layers of wrestling as far as who's going to be the guy, and we don't even know who's like. It could be Braun Breaker next, could be Gable Steveson, it could be somebody next. You know what I mean? But somebody will always be a top guy, and I feel like probably since the Cena era, though, it'll probably start to get like rejected. Like I feel like no matter who's the next top guy, people are just going to reject them just because they're labeled as the face of the company or the guy.
100%, right? Like I think I think the counterculture of wrestling fans is just a thing that we need to acknowledge that it exists. Like I think a good portion of wrestling fans is always just gonna want to go against the grain and root for the things that WWE doesn't want to give us. And sometimes that works to the advantage of pro wrestling as a whole. I do think that for the most part, going against the counter grain of WWE doesn't really work all that well. But then sometimes it gives us moments like the Daniel Bryan Yes movement. Sometimes it gives us Kofi Mania, right? So sometimes, when we go against the grain and we push back against what the WWE is providing us, it turns out to be good. It turns out to be really, really good. But what we need to also understand is that like when a lot of fans go up against what the WWE is serving us, it to me sometimes it reads of entitlement. It's just like, hey, like, do we not want to acknowledge that this is a company with over 60 plus years of experience doing this? Maybe we should just let them run with the story. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't end up being very good, but I guarantee you that what WWE is booking or AEW is booking is better than whatever most fantasy booking fans are capable of doing.
100%, man. 100%. What do you so wrestling in 2023, give me a wild prediction you have this year in wrestling. Could be any promotion, something that you think is gonna happen.
Something that I think is gonna happen. I do think that Sami Zayn is going to win the world titles. I really do believe that.
Really?
I do believe that. I think one of them, maybe not both. I think he's going to win one of them.
To retract, do you think Sami's winning the Rumble?
No. I think that there can be some shenanigans that lead to a match between him and Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber because it's in Montreal. And it could be then interfered by the actual Rumble winner to help Sami Zayn win, whatever that might end up being, right? Think a la Brock Lesnar losing to Eddie Guerrero, that interference from Goldberg. Yeah. That's what I'm envisioning. I think that, I made a video about this and I called it the Wrestling Haley's Comet. We just talked about this, where wrestling fans get so behind a career mid-card guy that the WWE has no choice but to put a title on him. And I think, like I said, we did it with Kofi Mania. We did it with Daniel Bryan. And I think it's about to happen with Sami Zayn. I think it's too big to not pull the trigger on it, even if it is just as a transitional champion. It'll just create so much buzz, so much headlines, and it's written right there, home time, Montreal. This can be WWE's official pardon for the Montreal screw job to the Montreal fans by giving an actual Montrealese in Montrealian. I don't even know what they call themselves. The world title. I would love to see that. That is my wild prediction. I think that it's probably more realistic to say that it's going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens winning the tag titles from the Usos, but I'm going to still hold on to the sliver that, let's say, somebody like Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble. He goes to headline WrestleMania with Roman, but in the internal struggles of the bloodline, we have a WWE Championship match between him and Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber in Montreal, and the winner of the Rumble does something, interferes to help Sami Zayn win the title from Roman. That's my prediction.
Man, I definitely think Roman and Sami is going to happen in the Chamber because it's in Montreal, so I definitely think that's the big match. I just don't know if I see Sami win because it all okay. So there's so many.
He can't win clean. He can't win clean. That's why I tossed in the idea of Brock Lesnar, Eddie Guerrero, because Eddie Guerrero couldn't win clean either. No one believed Eddie Guerrero was winning that until the shenanigans happened.
My only thing is, well, we still don't know what the Rumble is going to look like, and we still don't know who's going to win. I still believe it's going to be Roman Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania. I think it's going to happen this year. Mm-hmm. I think it's happening, and if it's going to be Roman and The Rock, I just don't see Roman losing the titles before WrestleMania. I mean, maybe one title because I know I've seen little aspects of they want to do something with the WWE Championship because the Rumble winner would have to get a title shot, at some aspect, and if Cody and they do Roman and The Rock, then you have to do something there. So I can understand that. So I don't know how they get the WWE title away from Roman. maybe with the whole shenanigans they have on Raw, maybe Adam Pearce takes one of the titles from Roman because they're interfering on Raw's brand, and that's not really their brand to be on, the Bloodline. Sammy beating Roman in Montreal would be insane. Like the reaction. First of all, his entrance is going to be insane. He's going to give steady ovation. It's going to be like that's going to be like Roman's anti-Cena moment. It's going to be like Punk and Cena Money in the Bank in Chicago type thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. Oh, man, but I just don't know. There's something different with Roman. Like Cena losing to CM Punk was there, but like they didn't even have Roman lose to Drew at Clash at the Castle.
I know. Here, if I can chime in for a quick second, Sami Zayn is just a different. He's in a different spectrum that Roman Reigns is, right? It's like if you look at the path that Roman Reigns would go through, he would meet the likes of McIntyre. He would meet the likes of Kevin Owens. He would meet the likes of Karrion Kross. These are all guys who are on his level. Sami Zayn is like in a different spectra. Like you don't consider Sami Zayn to be in that path of Roman Reigns, which is why I think a loss to Sammy doesn't impact Roman Reigns at all, in the same way that the Hurricane beating The Rock shortly before WrestleMania didn't impact The Rock in any way, shape, or form. It didn't damage the match. In fact, it helped build that Rock and Austin match at Mania 19. And I think they can do something very similar here, where a loss to the not prototypical guy, because we all know, right? Like if we look at wrestling as if it was real, we all know Roman Reigns would never lose to Sami Zayn, which is why if we give him a loss to Sami Zayn, no one in wrestling would be like, well, now Roman's stock is in the gutter, right? No one would see that way, because they know that it was clear external circumstances, crazy bananas that led to that moment. And so I think that a loss to Sami Zayn before Mania could be exactly like The Rock losing to the Hurricane, where it just elevated the Hurricane to another stratosphere without impacting The Rock whatsoever. And I think it would be really poetic if it is The Rock that causes Roman Reigns to lose that title at in Montreal.
So Sammy becomes the first person to pin Roman in 3 years, I believe Roman hasn't been pinned. 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. How so? You would have the interference, maybe like a roll up or something, like roll up, quick finish, like something like super fast.
Dude, I was thinking like let's say if it's The Rock comes out, lays out Roman Reigns, The Rock drags Sammy's lifeless body on top of Roman Reigns. Like it doesn't need to be Sammy actually physically earning the win.
Yeah,
it could be somebody else doing it for him. Like I know Eddie did get the DDT and then the frog splash, but like it was all Goldberg. It was Goldberg that won that title.
Yeah,
right. I think it could be something very similar to that.
No, man, that'd be crazy. I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like if The Rock put Sammy on top of Roman, that's not a bad idea. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not against the idea, but I don't know if I see it. It's just hard. Like I think what makes Roman so special for me too is it's really hard to see him losing at this point. Like eventually he's going to lose. He's not going to be the champ forever. It's going to come to an end eventually. But it's just so hard to bet against him. Like the match against Drew at Clash of the Castle, I'm like, okay, I believe
that was
Roman
it.
winning.
Yeah,
but it's like I don't really know if like it's in it's in England and it's like Drew's from the UK, but like I don't know. It's just like I just feel like Roman winning is just going to add more disappointment for his character, for people. Like the way people felt at Clash of the Castle, like when Drew lost, they were like, "Oh my gosh," like
yeah.
I mean,
all I'm saying, man, is that had Roman this is Roman, this is Drew. Roman, Drew. Had Roman lost to Drew, Roman goes down here, like in terms of his stock. If Roman loses to Sami Zayn, it doesn't do anything to Roman. It doesn't do anything to Roman Reigns' stock. Nothing at all. Because like I said, they're not even in the same category of the type of character. Sami Zayn will never be the face of the company. Sami Zayn will be a transitional champion. This isn't going to be the passing of the torch that a potential, Drew McIntyre beating Roman Reigns would have been, right? This is just something else. This would be almost entirely storytelling as opposed to actually being like, okay, Drew McIntyre is our new top guy, which that's a much bigger decision to make than it would be to, hey, let's take one of the titles off of Roman to create and build this giant main event with The Rock.
So
lots of possibilities, man.
You want to hear my wild prediction?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I think some way, I've said this for a while now, but I think some way, somehow, Kenny Omega is going to go to WWE. I see it happening.
You think it comes this soon? I think it's happening too, but I don't know if the timeline of 2023 is there yet.
I know he's a free agent this year, and I think I'm looking at it more of, so I know the story of that he had the meeting with WWE before he went to AEW, but it was more of like the creative control aspect that he didn't have in WWE that he would have in AEW, and he still wouldn't have the creative freedom in WWE that he would have in AEW. You know what I mean?
Right.
Triple H in charge, assuming Triple H stays in charge and Vince doesn't try to overpower him and come back. I think Kenny is the only thing that all the promotions that he's pretty much been to, he's succeeded in. New Japan. AEW, he's been world champion, he's been a top guy. The only place he hasn't done yet is WWE, and I feel like that adds more to his legacy by going there, succeeding in WWE, because he could say that he's done things that people haven't done. He's, I just feel like that's the last thing on his bucket list that he would probably want to do, and I see it happen. I don't know. I think Triple H is just gonna be able to make it happen. It doesn't have to be a long-term deal. It could be 2-3 year deal. You know what I mean? But I just feel like something is telling me it's really going to happen. I don't know about the Bucks coming over. I don't know about the Young Bucks following him and everything, but I mean, I really feel like Triple H is going to get. There's a couple free agents that I think he's going to go after this year. Nick Aldis, Moose. You know what I mean? Like they're talking about Tamatanga and Tangaloa. So it's like, there's a couple of people out there, but people I don't think would expect Kenny Omega just because of his relations to the Bucks and to the Elite and everything. But nobody said the same thing about Cody Rhodes either. Like if you would have said that, Cody Rhodes, who was one of the founders of AEW, would have been one of the first people to leave AEW to come to WWE, nobody would ever believe that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like literally the most impossible. So,
yeah, Cody Rhodes leaving AEW for WWE, to me, like if I'm just comparing apples to apples here, is actually a wilder, more ludicrous thing to happen than Kenny Omega going to the WWE. Like I think the WWE already took the guy that was the least likely to ever come over back to the WWE, and they made it happen. So I just don't see Kenny Omega being an impossibility. I think the only thing would be, is he that big enough name to make that immediate move to the main roster a la AJ Styles? I agree. I believe that he is. Yeah. And I think that's what we're looking for, right? Like the AJ Styles effect, because I'm AJ Styles is a top 5 guy for me. Like the guy was part of that TNA run, that X Division triple-headed monster that was him, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. Like AJ Styles was always the guy that I always wanted to see in the WWE. We never got it until we eventually did. I think, what was it, 2016? But to me, like that transition to the WWE and that success he had in the WWE cemented AJ Styles as one of the GOATs in the business. It needed to happen. Just like how a lot of people needed Messi to win the World Cup to finally call him a GOAT. I think we need Kenny Omega to make an impact in the WWE for us to start considering him one of the GOATs of professional wrestling.
100%, man. There's so many great matchups that he can have at WWE too. Kenny versus Cena would be insane. Kenny versus Styles. Kenny versus Roman versus Seth. There's so many people that could. Kevin Owens. Like, there's so many great people that he could work with that would just be phenomenal matchups. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna happen. It's a wild prediction, but I just fully see it happening. And I know he's a free agent this year. And I think it's gonna be this year sometime. I don't know when his contract's up, but I just really feel like he's going to make that jump. You know what I mean? Like I said, it doesn't have to be a long-term deal. It could be a short-term deal, but I just really, really thoroughly see it happen. So before we head off here, want to ask you, we talk about, before we play our little games, I want to know your top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. You said AJ was in yours. Yeah.
My top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. I don't know if I can rank them right now off the top of my head, but The Rock is in there. John Cena is in there. Randy Orton is in there. AJ Styles, Oh, and then that fifth one, I was enamored with Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna give that to Bryan Danielson.
Bryan Danielson. What about right now? Favorite wrestlers right now, currently, just favorites.
Right, the ones that I want on my screen at all times. My favorite right now is Gunther. It's that is a guy that I want to see on my television at all times. It's a unique style that WWE just hasn't seen since like the 70s. I can't compare Gunther to anyone. Like I can compare every wrestler on the roster to somebody else in the past. I can compare Roman Reigns to Cena. I can compare Omos to the Great Khali. They all have a comparison. I can't compare Gunther to anybody. So like I have Gunther as my top guy because it's just such unique television whenever he's on there. So my favorite guy right now is Gunther.
Who are some other ones that you have? It could be men and women too. It could just be.
Oh yeah, totally. Women, I don't get the hate. I don't get the hate. I'm a Charlotte guy. I am a Charlotte guy through and through. Charlotte will. I understand every argument under the sun for Charlotte. I get it.
I don't dislike her. I don't dislike Charlotte. I just dislike the way I just like the way they've used her throughout her time, but I don't dislike her. And I would probably say she's my least favorite of the four women.
You think so? Okay. Yeah, she's my favorite. I have her over Becky Lynch. I think it's a close 1 and 2 for them. Seth Rollins is doing some of the best work in his career. And lastly, I have Bobby Lashley. I think we need to what's the word that we need to bring the Hurt Business back, but I also I think that there needs to be an appreciation as to how much Bobby Lashley has evolved his game in the last 3.5 years. Like if we compare him to all of the crap that he was doing with his sisters or whatever to where he is now, where he is the monster, right? Like he is the guy that you don't want to get put up against. He is the modern day full-time Brock Lesnar per se, where getting put in a match against him is a punishment. I love seeing Bobby Lashley on screen. I do think that he benefits more from a mouthpiece than not. So it was a shame when they broke the Hurt Business up, but Bobby Lashley has been impressing me for the better part of the last 2 years now.
I think they should bring back the Hurt Business and just throw Omos in there as well. Have all 5 of them as a group. MVP, I think he doesn't wrestle anymore that much. And you could have Cedric and Shelton be the tag team. Bobby could be main event guy, but you could start to try to groom Omos to be that next guy to kind of replace Bobby. You just gotta get there. You just gotta make. The thing with Omos is he doesn't have to really speak. They just have to do something where he gets over by people believing that he's a giant and that he's dangerous and that he can hurt people.
It worked with Braun Strowman in the Wyatt family. He didn't say a word ever there. He was just a presence, and it worked. Once they transitioned him out of the Wyatt family, we all knew that he was a monster that we needed to pay attention to. That was a danger to anybody that he stepped in the ring with. But I think Omos suffered from the problem that they Great Khalid him. They really all they did was Great Khalid him, as opposed to doing the Braun Strowman, which was the slow burn, where he was this ominous background character that slowly started getting more screen time and more in-ring action. That's how they should have handled Omos. So I would love Omos in the Hurt Business.
I think they still got a chance. I mean, you rebuild him up in the Hurt Business, just make him be the muscle and the guy, even though Bobby Lashley is the big guy, but make him be kind of the big monster giant type guy until they're ready for him to take over the Hurt Business or take over by himself as just as a single guy. Like he's got a lot of potential. I mean, he's 7'3", and he's got every aspect, and he could probably do more in the ring that he's not able to do, because he's a big guy.
Yeah,
he's probably limited to
certain. I say they Great Khalid him. Omos is a million times better than the Great Khali. I think a million times better than the Great Khali in terms of what he's capable of. Way more athletic than the Great Khali, that's for sure. But I just don't think that they booked him right. And I think him being the background monster for a menacing stable like the Hurt Business would have been the best way to go.
All right, so before we head off here, we're going to play our 2 little games. I'll start with mine. So we're going to play a game called Pick Between the Two. I'm going to name 2 wrestlers, and you have to tell me which wrestler you think is better. Not which one is your personal favorite. Can't be biased.
Sure.
You got to pick which wrestler you think is better. We're talking about the whole package. We're talking about promo ability, impact, match quality. You're talking about the whole package. Like, which superstar ranks higher for you on the all-time great list? So, are you ready?
Yeah, hit me.
First one, Stone Cold Steve Austin or John Cena?
Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, I changed my mind. I'm going back to John Cena. I do believe that overall, in terms of initial, like just overall impact on the business, Stone Cold was the better of the two. And I do think that Stone Cold is better in the ring. But I'm going to go with John Cena being higher on my totem pole because John Cena was able to be the top guy for the better part of 12, 15 years, while that run of Stone Cold really only lasted about 4 or 5. And the run of Stone Cold ended on his own accord with the famous him taking his ball and going home. Meanwhile, Cena has always just been that company guy who's willing to come back at any moment. And additionally, I don't think that there's a better role model or an example as to how to handle yourself outside of when the cameras are off. Like you see Cena's actions outside of the ring when it comes to Make-A-Wish. Like he is just the best role model that you can have if you're wanting to be the next face of the WWE.
All right, so between Austin and Cena, you're going with Cena.
I'm going with Cena.
All right, next one. And if you don't want to, you don't have to explain why you're picking them.
Oh, okay. I thought I had to give a whole explanation. Okay.
No, you don't have to. You just say who you want to say, and then you just kind of let people think about it. You know what I mean? Like, why
sure.
Say that? You don't have to.
Sure.
So they're gonna put it into a short clip. You know what I mean? So you don't have to explain why. So
okay.
To go back again between Austin and Cena, you're going with Cena. So
Cena. If you want to ask me the question again for the clip, do it.
All right. So we're rewinding.
Yeah, rewind.
Who's better overall, in your opinion, Stone Cold or John Cena?
John Cena.
Randy Orton or Triple H?
Randy Orton.
Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins?
Seth Rollins.
Undertaker or Shawn Michaels?
Oh, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, yeah.
The Rock or Brock Lesnar?
The Rock.
Kurt Angle or Chris Jericho?
Kurt Angle.
Charlotte Flair or Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks?
Charlotte Flair.
Becky Lynch or Bayley?
Becky Lynch.
Trish or Lita?
Trish. Go Canada.
Last one, AJ Styles or Edge?
AJ Styles for me.
Ooh, nice. I don't think many people would have picked AJ over Edge, but I mean, understandable. No, it's understandable. No guess. All right, so we'll switch over to you. You do the thing where you pick between the wrestlers. So I'll let you take the floor with this one.
Sounds good. What we'll do is we'll do a guess the wrestler. Now I've got 3 for you.
Okay.
And I'll let you pick your level of difficulty first. Would you like me to go easy, medium, hard at the beginning?
We'll start with we'll do medium.
Medium. All right. Give me 1 second. I need to pull up this wrestler's accomplishments.
We'll do the medium. We'll go with the medium. Kind of fill out the waters here because you guys do outrageously out the box stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's going to be Donald Trump.
I still think this is going to be difficult, but this is a medium for us. All right.
I just got to figure out if it's going to be a wrestler, if it's going to be like a celebrity, or if it's going to be a puppet. You know what I mean? It could be.
Yeah, it could be anything in the world of professional wrestling. All right. Hi, Malik. Guess the wrestler. Actually, let me get a timer here going.
I don't know what I'm going to do with this, guys. I might suck at this.
All right, Malik. Guess the wrestler. 60 seconds. Go.
Does this wrestler currently wrestle right now?
No.
Is it a legend in the business, like an actual superstar legend, Hall of Famer?
Not a Hall of Famer, but I would say he's a legend. Say again?
Mid-Carter?
Mid-Carter, yes.
Mid-Carter, but a legend?
Yeah.
Have they ever been the world champion?
No. You know what? As an asterisk in the WWE, technically, yes.
As an asterisk in the WWE, they have been the champion. Okay, were they around in the Ruthless Aggression era?
Yes.
Were they around after the Ruthless Aggression era? In
Yes.
WWE?
No. Well, partly, but like not known for their time in WWE after Ruthless Aggression, honestly.
Oh my gosh. Shelton Benjamin? No, he was never world champion.
No. Was he? Yeah, no. It is final guess. I will say, I think you are more on the right track, sniffing the right type of people when we're dealing with Shelton Benjamin.
Christian?
No. So Christian has been world champion. This is why I said asterisks, because this is a former ECW champion and legend in the business because of his last name. We are dealing with Chavo Guerrero.
Chavo Guerrero. Oh man. Okay.
That was hard, man. That was hard.
I was gonna say Tommy Dreamer after you said ECW champion. I was like, that's probably Tommy Dreamer. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, Chavo Guerrero is a tough one though. So in your defense, that's a tough one.
Let's go easy for the next one. We're gonna do easy.
All right, easy.
And then the last one I'm gonna do hard because that one was great. God, Chavo Guerrero. See, I never thought of that one. Chavo Guerrero was a good one though. I would have never thought of Chavo Guerrero.
It's a tough one. And Abe, you put me in a bit of a pickle with the like, is he a legend? Like, had I said no, I think a lot of people would have put me to the torch to not say that a Guerrero is a legend. But I needed to differentiate because he's not a Hall of Famer, career mid-carder, but definitely a legend in his own right in the business.
No, I understand. Yeah, I get it. It's kind of.
All right. So this we would qualify as easy.
Okay. Easy. Well, let's find out how easy it's going to be. Let's go.
All right. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, Malik. Guess the wrestler. 60 seconds. Go.
All right. This is a current wrestler right now.
Yes.
In the WWE. Are they a champion?
No, and they are a champion.
So they're not in the WWE, but they are a champion.
Correct.
Are they in AEW?
Partly.
Are they in New Japan?
No.
Partly in AEW.
You know what? AEW, yes.
AEW.
Not an AEW champion.
Not an AEW champion, but they're in AEW. Are they? Oh man, are they Ring of Honor champion?
Yes, they would fall under the category of Ring of Honor.
Is it Claudio Castagnoli?
It is Claudio Castagnoli, formerly Cesaro of the WWE, with 5 seconds to spare. Well done.
I'll have 5 seconds left. Come on now. Let's do. We'll end it off with the hard one. We'll go off to the.
All right. All right. Let's get this one rolling here.
We'll switch up. We'll switch it up.
Just trying to think how hard I really want to make this, because Chavo Guerrero is fairly difficult.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to dive into the bag of tricks of just ridiculous shit. Okay. We will do a very difficult one.
Oh gosh, I'm scared now.
I will tell you right now. This is not something goofy. This isn't the Spanish announce table. This is not, The Rock in a movie.
It's an actual wrestler.
I'm doing an actual wrestler. All right. Are you ready, sir?
Actual wrestler. All right.
Yeah.
Whenever the timer is, let me know when the timer starts.
All right, Malik, guess the wrestler. 60 seconds. Go.
All right. Is this a past wrestler?
They are a past wrestler, but they are performing in the independents.
Are they old?
They are not as old as you might think. They're 48.
Past wrestler. Is it Charlie Haas?
No.
Were they ever champion in WWE at some point?
Not world champion.
But they held championships in the WWE.
They held a championship in the WWE.
They held a championship in the WWE. Are they currently wrestling for any other major wrestling promotion?
No.
Were they ever in? Were they Intercontinental Champion?
No.
Hardcore Champion?
No.
U.S. Champion?
Yes.
U.S. Champion. Gosh, I gotta think. Old 48 U.S. Champion.
I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds here.
U.S. Champion, 30 years old. Gosh, who could have been the U.S. Champion? No, I was gonna say Rhino, but he was never U.S. Champion. Whew, okay, were they U.S. Champion during the Ruthless Aggression era?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, who the fuck is this? Okay, I'm trying to think of people who. I know Eddie Guerrero had it. Big Show had it. Cena, Booker T.
Final guess.
Orlando Jordan?
Orlando Jordan, the chief of staff from JBL's cabinet. It is Orlando Jordan.
Oh my
well
God.
done, though.
I only said, first of all, I didn't know how he was that old. And two,
yeah, well, I thought he was going to be younger than that. When I saw 48, I was, oh, okay.
Orlando Jordan, man. Man, I only pulled that one out because I was thinking, I had to think all the champions in that era. And I was thinking he was one of the random champions.
Yeah.
At that time. One of the most random U.S. champions. Beat Cena, too, out of our people. Beat Cena for the championship. So that one was pretty. That one was. I think the Chavo one was harder for me. The Chavo one.
Wait, no. I don't think he beat Cena. Was he not? Did he? I thought he beat Chris Benoit. Or am I getting that the other way around? Chris Benoit.
No, he beat the way. He beat Cena. Remember? He beat Cena.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chris Benoit beat Orlando Jordan for the title in like a pretty hilariously quick match.
Yeah, he beat Cena when he had the spinner title and they blew it up in the garbage can and everything.
100%. Yeah. I recall now.
That was pretty. That was 2005. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna do one more pick between the two, but we're gonna do WWE theme song edition before we head off here. So this is
okay.
What theme song you think is the better theme song? Okay,
let's
so
go.
Not your personal favorites, not what's this is based off your personal preference. So let me write this last one down real quick.
Okay.
I'm interested to see. I think everybody has different tastes when it comes to themes too, but
yeah, let's roll.
And I'll be clear on when I say theme. I'll let you know like what theme. Which
one of theirs? Because if they have multiple, okay.
Yes, some superstars have different themes than others, so I want to make it fair. I'm trying to think of a really hard one for the last one to put together that I think it would make you sweat. That's the goal here. It's to make people sweat. Excuse me. All right. So last one before we head off here, guys, we're gonna do another pick between the two, but we're going to do WWE theme song edition. Which theme song do you think is the better theme song? Starting off, Batista, Walk Alone, or CM Punk, Cult of Personality?
Cult of Personality.
Edge, Metalingus, or Triple H, The Game?
Oh, come, dude, that's evil. Metalingus.
Ooh. John Cena, The Time Is Now, or Eddie Guerrero, Lie, Cheat, and Steal?
John Cena.
Evolution or DX?
Line in the Sand is a beautiful song. Evolution.
The Shield or NWO?
The NWO, those guitar strums, baby.
AJ Styles or Seth Rollins' current theme?
Seth Rollins.
Let's see. Roman Reigns' current theme or Steve Austin's current theme?
Whoa. That glass shattering cannot be topped. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Shawn Michaels or Shane McMahon?
Shawn Michaels.
Rey Mysterio's current theme or Drew McIntyre's Broken Dreams?
I'm a Mysterio guy. I think Broken Dreams is overrated. Sorry.
Oh my God, that's gonna get one right there. Last one. Chris Jericho's Break the Walls Down or The Rock's current theme?
Break the walls down. Chris Jericho.
Nice. Drew McIntyre, Broken Dreams. So do you think his new theme is better than Broken Dreams?
I do. I do.
Man, that's gonna get a lot of heat right there. It's gonna get a lot
Yeah,
of heat.
dude.
So
My two biggest wrestling opinions that I know are against the grain are Broken Dream sucks, and I didn't like Jeff Hardy during his world title run.
Gosh.
I couldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Talk about getting a lot of heat, man. A lot of heat. Well, I'll make sure to edit those clips and I'll send them to you.
Yeah,
thanks
please.
for taking the time out of the day to come through. Love to be on the guest and straight shoot anytime. So if you ever want me as a guest, let me know. I'm always
For
down.
sure, absolutely.
And I definitely want to get you on the Jeopardy. So I want you guys to have a Jeopardy battle. So hopefully we can make that happen in 2023.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump on. For sure.
But we'll figure it out with the scheduling. So appreciate you for joining. Once again, I'll let you plug in your socials to everybody where they can check out your podcasting and stuff before we end it.
Yeah, the podcast is Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. My personal socials, my YouTube and my TikTok are Mr. Santi Zap. And my Twitch is just Santi Zap without the Mr. Please come check me out. I'm posting quite often, and on Twitch about 4 times a week I'm live.
All right, so make sure you guys go check out his social media stuff, man. Check out his podcasting with him and Steve, the Straight Shoot, man. Make sure you guys go support them. And appreciate you for coming on, man. We'll be happy to do it again. More collabs maybe happen in the future. So to sign off, thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you guys subscribe to YouTube and Twitch, which you're watching either one. And there will be more content coming for you guys that I have surprises for you in the future. So make sure you guys stay tuned.